welcome. I'm back, and I've brought with me the list of PSP exclusive games which I featured in a video a few weeks ago. The reason being, there's just so many. I guarantee anybody who looks through that list who's not been a real enthusiast for the PlayStation Portable before will be shocked at just how many exclusives it had. So much so, I'm back with another video showcasing what I believe are some of the best PlayStation Portable exclusive games that you can play. I've got everything from current franchises to forgotten franchise favourites which have been dormant or just completely extinct for some years now. And of course, they're all PlayStation Portable exclusives, meaning it's the only way to play them, unless you use an emulator. It's to showcase just how wonderful the PSP library is. But that's enough from me, let's show you some games.
Pilot Academy. In this game you can operate aircraft from all different eras, starting from the First World War all the way up to present day, which in this case is 2006, when the game was released. You get your civilian and your military aircraft. I found it infinitely more interesting with the military aircraft because yes, you get weapons. With the civilian missions, it's basically takeoff, turning, landing safely, etc. But with the military ones, you get all sorts of different extra things. You get rid of the basic flying skills because you'll cover that with the civilian portion. And instead you're focusing on weapon control, hitting targets accurately, that sort of thing. Looks wise, I think for a PSP game it certainly holds up. The aircraft are all detailed in glorious 3D, complete with logos, paint schemes, etc. You will find that some of the insignificant buildings are in 2D. I'm guessing they did that just for processing power. However, buildings that actually matter to any missions are also in 3D. This game reminds me a little bit of Pilot Wings, just a newer version for a newer console. Let me know what you think. Some say it's not the most interesting game in the world, but I had a cracking time with it. Splinter Cell Essentials. This is the fourth entry in the long-running, much-loved stealth franchise, and the emphasis is really heavy on stealth in this game. It was made using the Unreal Engine 2, although slightly toned down to allow it to run properly on the PSP. The game here really does go back to Splinter Cell's roots with the traditional style of gameplay. We are once again in control of Sam Fisher, former NSA agent currently turned fugitive, as he sneaks into a Washington DC cemetery to visit his daughter Sarah's grave, as she's sadly been killed by a drunk driver. Unfortunately, other people figured out he might go there too, and he's arrested at the gravesite and taken into custody, ready for interrogation. It is during this interrogation that the gameplay takes place. You're basically reliving the missions and events that led up to you being a fugitive. The story flushes itself up as to why, what happened, etc. And it does actually make for quite a compelling time. In the end, once you've gone through all of this, well, you find out exactly what Sam did that was so bad. And of course, there might be an escape attempt. Will he be successful though? That's for you to decide when you give it a go. I love Splinter Cell, always have, always will. All the games are great, except the DS one. Monster Hunter Freedom. Like many of its predecessors, Monster Hunter revolves around the player completing quests, gathering materials to upgrade your equipment in order to advance. This is actually a port of the PlayStation 2 game Monster Hunter G, with some tweaks to help it run on the PSP, and of course to allow for the lack of R2 and L2 buttons and only one thumbstick. If you've played a Monster Hunter game, you'll know the score really. The more rare the items and the equipment, the stronger the main physical aspects of the character will be, and ultimately the more beasties you'll be able to take down. You need to have planning and skill. You can't just go in all guns blazing, or well, probably swords in this case, as that's just a quick way to die. The good news is there's plenty of weapons out there for you to choose from. Swords, shields, double-handed swords, dual blades, hammers, lances, even bow guns. So you can really approach it your own way. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you expect, the multiplayer is no longer accessible. that involved mainly going to online gathering halls and going on quests with other players. But the single player mode is still good fun and of course fully accessible, and you can do village elder quests and enter offline gathering halls to do guild quests by yourself. Obviously you can also buy items to aid you in your completion of your quest as well. It is a typical Monster Hunter game. If you've played any other games in the series, then you know what you're getting in for, and if you haven't played this one, there's another game for you to enjoy. There's also a sequel, Monster Hunter Freedom 2. Haven't played that one yet, so if you have, let me know in the comments if it's any good. Medal of Honor Heroes. In this game you get to take on the role of various heroes from the Medal of Honor series. You've got 3 different campaigns, each with its own hero, and you can spearhead your squads to complete the objectives. The campaigns take place in Italy, the Netherlands and Belgium. And the cinematics, I've got to say, are really good in this game. In fact, once you've beaten the Battle of the Bulge in Belgium, you do get a really nice cinematic end to your game. Anybody who remembers the Medal of Honor series, which did once rival Call of Duty, will be familiar with the style of gameplay. You've got sabotage, infiltration, and capturing certain objectives. Most missions end in the campaigns with you either blowing something up, which is always cool, killing a certain number of enemies, or stealing some intel. And sometimes you do have to return to a certain location to escape. It is a really competent World War II shooter, which is what Medal of Honor was known for being at the time. I'm sure it goes without saying that the multiplayer is now dead and buried. However, it was a big part of the game at the time, and if you managed to get through and get the gold medals, you could unlock skins and things for it. However, there's plenty of other multiplayer FPS games out there. The single player campaign on its own is more than worth buying this game for, which is quite a cheap pickup as well. I did like the Medal of Honor series, it's a shame it's long gone. Now a PSP exclusive licensed game with Miami Vice. This is based on the 2006 film reboot, and the likeness of the characters is based on Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx. Rather than just retelling the film, it's actually set before the events of the film, where you're working to take down a South American drug lord with a difficult to pronounce name. And you can choose to go ahead through the game as either Crockett or Tubbs. As you get deeper into the drug operation and closer to bringing down the drug lord, the story does actually get pretty good. The main part of the gameplay is a cover-based third-person shooter, and do take cover. You cannot simply get through a level by running and gunning, your health will just deplete straight away. However, the weapons do have laser sights, which is kind of a handy way of doing the aiming reticule without actually putting one on there. As you've no doubt already spotted, there's also some vehicle combat. Not enough of it in my opinion, because it's a real highlight and my favourite part of it. You can also buy and sell drugs, and the money can be used to buy weapons and upgrade your existing weapons. You also collect something called flash rams during each level, and you can hack them at the end of each one in a mini arcade game. Juiced Eliminator. One of the many really good 3D racing games you'll find on the PSP, and is a sequel to 2005's Juiced from the PlayStation 2 and other 6th generation consoles. The game focuses on you, the player's racing career throughout the fictional city of Angel City, and you've got 6 types of races to enjoy. Standard circuit, point to point, which is a nice linear race, sprint, which is a drag style, show off, a timed event where you can perform various stunts, eliminator, a multi-lap race where the last place car is eliminated at the end of each lap, and relay race, a race involving the use of various cars. Surprisingly deep racing game. Now an exclusive from the Tom Clancy franchise in Ghost Recon Predator. I'm quite impressed that they managed to get a squad-based game on the PSP with half-decent AI. In Predator, you're controlling a squad of 3 ghosts as per previous Ghost Recon games. You can choose between 8 possible characters from 5 different classes, the usual scout, support gunner, marksman, shotgunner, medic, etc. And this time you're hunting terrorists in the jungles of Sri Lanka. The interface is based on previous games in this series, with one difference which you don't find in many of the console ones, if any actually. You can switch and control any of the three ghosts, rather than just controlling one single player and solely relying on AI for the other two. If you've played a Ghost Recon game before, you know exactly what you're getting. And that's a good thing, because they're all brilliant. And if you haven't played Ghost Recon yet, this is as good a place to start as any. Now we've got some full-on vehicular combat in Fired Up. This game tries to be serious, but it's really not. It's just a blast going around and shooting other vehicles and people. You start off in the campaign mode in an unnamed small country which has been invaded by an unfriendly neighbour known as the Republic. You take on the role of 5 different characters who are fighting as mercenaries for the resistance, and you do get a nice selection of vehicles along the way, as well as 4 different locations. You take on a series of missions pretty much whenever you please, and you can find yellow scavenger tokens along the way, and they will unlock secondary weapons for use against the continuously spawning enemies. And do collect a few of them. Once you get to things like heavy missiles and lasers, it's just a riot from start to finish. Now a spin-off from the popular Jak and Daxter series, as Daxter, the usual sidekick, gets his own game. It takes place during the 2-year time skip occurring during the opening cutscene of Jak 2, and this time Daxter's in prison, so Jak's out there on his own. And as I'm sure you've already guessed, it's his mission to go and get his pal. Gameplay is relatively similar to the other games in the series. Daxter's taken on the role as a bug exterminator while searching for his buddy. He can double jump, ledge grab, crouch and squeeze through narrow gaps. He can also make use of things like trampolines to reach higher ledges and ride on zip lines, and even make use of vehicles. Combat wise, it's mainly on melee attacks with the electronic blue eco-powered bug swatter. However, once you're through the initial missions, you get access to the extermination tank, which can be used as a sort of flamethrower, to a jetpack, and all sorts of things. It's quite ingenious, really. Wouldn't mind one of those myself. Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles. Not so much an exclusive game as an exclusive remake, as it's a remake of Castlevania Rondo of Blood from 1993, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night from 1997. As well as new voice acting, you've also got a few extra bits of gameplay. Notably, Rondo of Blood is now 2.5D. There are also 2 new barriers, which can only be gotten past by saving both Terra and Iris, as they'll then grant you the items required to destroy them. I dare say the purists out there who are big fans of the original games probably don't think these are fantastic, which is understandable and I get it, but if you've never played them, I think you can have a good time here. It's just a shame it's such an expensive game. Emulation, anyone?
And that was some more picks from me of some awesome PlayStation Portable exclusive games. This library is phenomenal. It doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and I hope that I've encouraged you, whether it be for emulation or original hardware, to re-explore some of these fantastic, timeless classics. I love the PlayStation Portable, I'm a huge enthusiast for it. It was way ahead of its time, and even now, a portable PlayStation 2 in your pocket? I still like it. As always, I'm very keen to hear from you wonderful people. Let me know what you thought of my picks. Let me know any of your favourites. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. If not, I'm just grateful for you taking the time to watch my silly little video. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Ta-da.